Indigo Sky. Here's your question. When can a police officer lawfully go in your pockets? Question again. When can a police officer lawfully go in your pockets? Indigo Sky, you're up.
Only when they've been detained.
All right, we'll let JL give a shot at it. Go ahead, JL. Say it again for the jury.
Only when they're being. Only if they're detained, right? Only if they're detained. That's the only
All
time
right.
they can go in their pockets. Only when you are detained.
JL says only when you're detained. Uh, Melanated Caesar got his hand up. What you got to say about it, Anthony?
Hey, I'm gonna say only when you're arrested and you're in their custody.
So we got only when you're being detained, and we got only when you're being arrested, questioned. Okay. All right. Jermaine got his hand up. What you got, Jermaine?
Once they establish probable cause.
Well, before I say anything, does the jury pool want to weigh in on this? Who is with JL in his assertion that they can lawfully go into your pockets once they've lawfully detained you?
Just say yay or nay, because we got hands up.
Well, there's a better way. If you look on your screen in the reactions, there's a red X, a white X and a red circle, and a white check mark and a green circle. If you go with that, put up the check mark. If you don't go with that, put up the X. That'll be an easier way to do it.
I see LR with the X, Laura with the check, Odalise. I don't know.
What's the question again?
Pecan with the X. Go ahead, ask your question again, Mel.
The question is, the jury pool question is, when can a cop lawfully go into your pockets? And JL says they can lawfully go into your pockets when they've lawfully detained you.
All right, man. We got a bunch of responses in here. Adrian said no. Corey say no. Devlin say no. Elliot, no. Eugene, no. Gemini Bunny, no. Jeremiah, no. Kimberly says yes. Laura says yes. LR, no. Melissa, no. Milton, yes. Pecan, no. Rodimus, yes. And Scotty say no.
All right. So we're gonna do it
I said no too. You didn't say my name.
Pat said no.
My apologies, Pat. I'm
I'm
just going down my list, and you must have jumped to the top. Okay.
All right. So for the people that said no, you are correct. People that said yes are wrong. Now, for the people, let's see, Pat, why is that incorrect?
Because they're going his pockets after he has been arrested,
Okay,
not just detained but arrested.
right. So yeah, there you go. But let me ask it another way: is that the only time that can happen?
That they can go in your pockets?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they can go in your pockets too if they feel like you have a weapon in your pockets and you might be a danger to them or the public.
They can go in your pockets then?
If they feel like that you have a weapon, yes. If they feel like you have a weapon and they know about where the spot is at, where the weapon is, they can go in your pocket then.
They can go. They can do a search. That's what you're saying.
Hey, you heard her. She said it with some confidence, Mel.
Where they think the knife is at.
Yeah,
I mean not knife, but weapon.
Yeah, I know. I heard what she said. I'm just making sure that I'm understanding what she is saying.
Right, you trying to get that clarification. I got you.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure she's drawing a line in the sand. Now, you can take your X's and your checks down. Go ahead and take your X's and your checks down.
Since
Now,
he's about to ask another question.
yeah, yeah, Radams, go ahead and take your check down. You too, Jeremiah. You can take your X down. Corey, you can take your X down. Cause I'm about to ask you another question. All right. Based on what Pat just disseminated to us, articulated, would you agree with that assessment that cops can go, they can do a search on you if they can go in your pockets if they believe you have a weapon?
She said armed and dangerous.
Okay, they believe you're armed and dangerous. They can go in your pockets.
And she described where. She said the bulge in your pocket. She said the specific pocket where the bulge is.
Right.
Is this at a lawful stop?
We'll assume that it's at a lawful stop.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming.
How many X's they got, Randall?
We got a couple of X's. We got.
Yeah,
we got a bunch of checks.
I'm still letting people follow. So Adrian says,
Could y'all repeat the answer, please?
"Oh,
What was the
Pat's
answer?
answer or what? What
Yeah.
we're about to say?"
Yeah.
I said
Yes.
they can go in your pockets when you're being arrested. They can go in your pockets, and also when they have reasonable suspicion that you have a firearm or some kind of weapon on you in a certain area of your body or your
Don't forget the last part you said. Make sure you aren't. They expect you aren't and dangerous because they're gonna get you on that one.
Yes, that's another reason the police can go in your pockets when they feel like you are, or they have reasonable suspicion that you are armed and dangerous to them in the public.
Okay. So
All
based
right.
on that, LR, you gonna put up a check mark or an X?
All right, so let me run through our checks and X's. Adrian says she agrees. Corey disagrees. Devlon agrees. Elliot disagrees. James agrees. Jason, I don't know what you got up there.
He's on break. He's away. He got the coffee break up.
Oh, okay, all right.
He's away
Jeremiah
from his computer.
Jeremiah agrees. Kimberly agrees. Laura agrees. LG agrees. LR agrees. Jermaine disagrees. Melanada agrees. Milton agrees. Odalise agrees. Rodimus agrees. Scotty agrees. And Stephen disagrees.
All right. So before we get the answer, let's look at Corey, Eugene, Stephen, all put up X's. Why? Corey, why do you disagree?
Because the only way an officer can go in your pockets if they have probable cause to arrest you. Point blank.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's it.
All right. Eugene, why did you disagree? Did you concur with that, or did you have something slightly different as well? Or
I said the same thing. I mean, if they're just going to detain you, they can ask you if you have any weapons, and they can do a perimeter pat down, and they can fill your pockets to see if you have anything that could be construed as a weapon, but they can't physically go in unless they've actually apprehended you.
okay, Steven.
Yes, sir. I concur with all that those two gentlemen said. Same thing. They can ask or inquire, but they can't just go up in your pockets like that.
Okay, Maine.
I agree with them. Then unless you give them consent, like, yeah, you can go in my pockets.
Okay. Everybody that said that put up an X, you're right, but you're wrong.
Oh.
The only one that's right is Maine.
Yep.
Ain't cleaned it up for everybody.
I knew you was gonna get him.
Because you have to go back to what Pat said.
Yep.
Pat specifically gave you a definition. The definition wasn't a probable cause. The definition comes from reasonable suspicion. Because what she was talking about was not a search, but a pat down.
I was aware of that.
Yeah.
I wasn't answering that. I was just knowing what you. Yeah, I get it. I know what you're saying. How she
Yeah.
worded the question. Got you.
Yeah, but when she gave her answer, she gave the definition of a pat down. Pat down is not a search because a search is when they go into your clothing. This is feeling on the outside of the clothing, so it's not a search.
Okay. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
All
Wait a
right.
minute.
No.
So
So
you saying the people with the checks was right or wrong?
incorrect, Kim.
Well,
So
she
everybody
said,
was wrong.
Yeah,
She
To a
everybody,
certain extent, everybody was wrong.
everybody was wrong
but
because you did. Go ahead, Kim.
she didn't describe to me. I didn't hear her describe a pat down. She described going in the pocket.
But she said that, you have to have a weapon, you have to be armed and dangerous. She also said they have to know which area they're going into, and they
Yeah,
can.
that's a search.
But that's the only place that they can search. But that is the textbook definition of a pat down.
Wow.
And you
That's
must
crazy.
know the difference between a pat down and a search.
Remember,
Otherwise,
a
go
search
ahead.
is when they go into your clothing. A
Is
pat down, they don't actually go into your clothing. They can feel on the outer layer of your clothing.
So, but she said in the pockets. That's why I thought it was a search. So which one is in the pockets?
That was a seizure.
If
So when they
they
do
go
a
in your
pat down,
pockets,
so
yeah,
when they
if-
do a pat down, if they feel a weapon, they're not gonna go into the pocket and get it.
if they feel a weapon,
Hold on, Mel. Hold on, Mel. Before you answer,
okay.
Pat, answer that yourself. When can they go into your pockets? Let her clean it up. When can they go into your pocket, Pat?
When
Just
they
because
feel a weapon, I guess
So
when they feel a weapon, they can go
all
in your
right.
pocket.
So so you walking around and you got your switchblade in your pocket, and they come upon you, and they see you with your switchblade in your pocket, they can go in your pocket just because they see it.
You talking about when are you talking about when they have you detained or
And they can have you detained, or you can just be
but
walking
not
around
just not
in
with
your
just you
pocket.
walking around, no.
Okay, so when can they go into your pockets? Because that's it, very important. When can they go into your pockets? Because you described it in your answer, but see, I think you're getting confused between the pat down and the search, and the
Yeah,
difference
I guess,
between the
yeah.
two. Because you articulated it very well, but then you gave us the definition for something else.
Yeah.
So that's why Mel docked you.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Mel.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's why we tell you once you get to a certain level, then you have to really get laser focused in on the nuance because that is literally could be the difference between you getting off scot-free on a technicality and you going up under the prison system or the jailhouse. It's just that simple. It can be just that simple because what you just did was gave a textbook definition of a pat down. Now, if you got a lawyer that's smart and catches that and grills you on it, that could blow the whole case up. That could be the difference between that gun that was found in the search now being fruit of the poisonous tree and being inadmissible. And if it's not admissible and they have no other way to get it back in, they may not have any other evidence. And if they don't have any evidence, there goes the case. So you have to be very succinct when you say what you say because that could be the difference. Now, I know some people will say that I'm splitting hairs and I'm nitpicking, but that is the law. You have to be very nuanced when you do that.
Corey got his hand up, Mel.
Corey, you're up. Y'all can put your checks and X's down.
I got to. Hey, all right. Your original question for me and those that chose X, your original question was what versus what her description
All
was.
right, let me clean it up, Corey. So the original question, y'all didn't answer. So Pat led you off the path. So that's what typically happens is Mel asks a
Thank
question.
you, Randy.
It's all good, Pat. But so the original question, who answered it at the end? Who was that? Jermaine, who said consent? That was the original question that Mel asked about. So that's why he was the one that got it correct.
Because it's a two-part answer.
Yeah.
They
So
can lawfully go into your pockets once you're under arrest, but they can also go into your pockets if you give them consent.
So Corey, you said the first part. That's where you were correct in, but with the law, you have to be right and correct. So half of that.
Got you. So all the X's really kind of put it all together.
Right.
Everybody had a piece of everything. I got
everybody
you.
had a piece of it, but everybody missed that one little part about consent until Jermaine said it. That's why Jermaine was the only one that got it right.